Sheel. Sheel's death is one of the first gut punch moments in Akame Ga Kill, and it sets the tone for the kind of story this series will be. She's clumsy and awkward in daily life, but with her tegu, ekstase, the giant scissors, she's a terrifying assassin. For fans, she quickly became the sweet big sister of Night Raid, looking after Tatsumi and offering emotional warmth in a group that's otherwise defined by bloodshed and tragedy. That's exactly why her death stings so badly. During her fight against the fanatic Seryu, Sheel holds her own, but when Seryu's trump card, her biological weapon Koro, enters the fight, everything turns against her. Sheel is caught, torn apart, and ultimately killed in brutal fashion. What makes it so heartbreaking is the abruptness. She's gone before Night Raid, or the audience can even process it. No farewell, no chance to mourn properly, just gone. Her death changes Night Raid permanently. It shows Tatsumi and the audience that this isn't a story where the heroes miraculously escape. Sheel's kindness, her belief in protecting others, ends on the battlefield, and her sudden loss leaves a hole in Night Raid that can never really be filled. Bulat. If Sheely's death is sudden, Bulat's is noble, but just as devastating. Bulat serves as a mentor to Tatsumi, teaching him how to use Incursio, the tegu that would eventually define him. Strong, honorable, and brimming with charisma, Bulat is the kind of warrior who inspires loyalty from those around him. He's the kind of character who feels like he should survive, but his duel with General Liver shows the harsh reality of this world. The two warriors clash in a fight that's more than just physical, it's ideological. Liver, once loyal to the Empire, now corrupted by it, fights with the venom of someone who gave up everything. Bulat holds his ground, even poisoned, and manages to defeat Liver. But the cost is his life. Bulat's death is more than just the loss of muscle for Night Raid. It leaves Tatsumi carrying the weight of Incursio, both as a weapon and as a legacy. Bulat passes on his hopes, his strength, and his will to Tatsumi, but his absence leaves the team and the audience gutted. He's proof that even the strongest warriors aren't untouchable in Akame Ga Kill. Chelsea. Chelsea's death is one of the cruelest in the series. Smart, cunning, and armed with Gaia Foundation, a tegu that allowed her to transform into anyone. She was a different kind of fighter compared to Night Raid's brawlers. Her specialty was infiltration and assassination, and for a while, she was incredibly effective. But her attempt to assassinate Kurome ends in disaster. While she succeeds in killing Bowles, Kurome's puppets overwhelm her. She's brutally killed, and in a particularly cruel twist, her body is displayed publicly as a warning. Unlike Sheel or Bulat, Chelsea doesn't get to die in battle with her comrades. She dies alone, far from help, punished for her boldness. Her death is a harsh reminder that in this world, even intelligence and cunning can't protect you. Night Raid loses a vital strategist, and Tatsumi once again sees someone he cares about ripped away. Chelsea's end is one of the most graphic, humiliating deaths in Akame Ga Kill, and it cements how merciless this story really is. Lubbock. Lubbock's death is brutal because it's drawn out and cruel. He's often seen as the comic relief of Night Raid, constantly chasing after girls and lightening the mood. But beneath that exterior, Lubbock is incredibly loyal and skilled with his tegu, Crosstail, which uses wires for combat. He's clever, resourceful, and far more capable than people give him credit for. When he's captured by Minister Honest's men, he doesn't go down begging or broken. Even in chains, he tries to manipulate the situation, using every ounce of wit to fight back, but there's no escape. He's tortured, humiliated, and executed. What makes it so painful is how much it contrasts with his usual personality. The guy who always smiled and cracked jokes dies in agony, stripped of his chance to go out fighting. For Night Raid, it's another devastating loss. For the audience, it's a reminder that Akame Ga Kill doesn't let even the lighthearted characters off the hook. Lubbock's death proves that loyalty doesn't guarantee survival, and that in this story, the cost of rebellion is often your life. Mine's death is one of the most emotionally crushing in the series. Armed with Pumpkin, a tegu that grew stronger under pressure, she often seemed like the weakest fighter at first, but her sharp tongue, courage, and growing bond with Tatsumi made her a beloved character. She's one of the few who openly showed her softer side, especially in her relationship with Tatsumi. Her death comes after one of her most heroic moments. Facing off against General Budo, she pushes herself and her weapon to the absolute limit, taking down a powerhouse of the Empire. But the strain leaves her body broken. She collapses, and even though she survives the battle itself, her wounds are too severe. Mine doesn't go out in a blaze of glory, surrounded by her comrades. She fades slowly in Tatsumi's arms, after finally confessing her love. This death devastates fans because it's the first time Tatsumi finds true happiness, only to have it ripped away. Mine's last smile, her final words, and the heartbreaking intimacy of the moment make her loss unforgettable. She fought like hell. She won her battle, but in the end, even victory couldn't save her. Tatsumi. As the protagonist, Tatsumi's death feels inevitable and shocking all at once. From a naive boy who stumbled into Night Raid to a hardened warrior carrying the hopes of his comrades, Tatsumi's journey is defined by loss. He inherits Incursio from Bulat and grows into a leader in his own right. In the anime, his death comes during the final battle against the Emperor's colossal Tegu. He pushes Incursio beyond its limits, sacrificing his life to bring down the monster and save countless civilians. In the manga, his sacrifice is slightly different, but the weight is the same. Tatsumi gives his life to stop the Empire's greatest weapon. His death is the culmination of Night Raid's struggle. It's not flashy or cruel like Chelsea's, nor abrupt like Sheel's. It's noble, tragic, and final. For mine, it's devastating, as she loses the man she loved. For Akame, it's another name added to the long list of comrades she's forced to bury. Tatsumi's death is the ultimate proof that in this war, even the main character isn't safe. Leone's death is bittersweet and fitting. She's the heart of Night Raid, loud, brash, affectionate, and always the one to cheer up her comrades. Her Tegu, Lionel, gave her superhuman strength and regeneration, making her one of the toughest fighters in the group. In both the anime and manga, her death comes after Minister Honest wounds her fatally. Unlike others, Leone doesn't die immediately. She continues fighting, even in her weakened state, determined to finish her mission. When it's over, she slips away, quietly, alone in the streets, smiling as if content with the life she lived. Leone's death is painful because of the contrast. She's the one who laughed the loudest, who seemed untouchable, yet she doesn't get a dramatic final duel. She simply fades out, accepting her fate. Her smile at the end is both heartbreaking and beautiful, capturing the essence of her character. Bowles is one of the most surprising and gut-wrenching deaths in the series because he looks and fights like a monster, but in reality, he's one of the kindest characters in Akame Ga Kill. Unlike many of the Empire's soldiers, Bowles is deeply aware of the horrors he's committed. He knows he has blood on his hands, he knows people fear him, and he knows he may never find redemption, but he keeps fighting for one reason: his family. Bowles is a husband and father who adores his wife and daughter, and that makes his role in the Jaegers incredibly tragic. In the anime, he's killed by the Wild Hunt, a group far more cruel and sadistic than even the Empire's usual forces. In the manga, it's Chelsea who takes his life in a moment that devastates her as much as it does us. Chelsea knows he's a good man at heart, but he's still part of the system Night Raid has sworn to dismantle. When Bowles dies, his last thoughts aren't about glory or battle. They're about his family who will never see him again. Bowles' death hits different because it humanizes the enemy. He isn't like Seryu or Stylish, who embrace cruelty. He's a man stuck in a corrupt world, doing what he believes he has to for the people he loves. The tragedy of Bowles is that he probably would have been a good man in any other life, but in this one, he's remembered as both a feared soldier and a victim of the Empire's cycle of violence. Kurome's death is one of the most emotional duels in Akame Ga Kill. She's Akame's younger sister, trained by the Empire and kept alive with drugs that destroy her body and mind. Her Tegu, Yatsufusa, allows her to control the corpses of the dead, making her both terrifying and pitiful. While Esdeath is the face of the Empire's power, Kurome represents its corruption on a personal level. Her final battle with Akame is heartbreaking. It's not a simple clash between enemies. It's a tragic fight between sisters who were torn apart by circumstances beyond their control. Kurome doesn't want to die, but she's too far gone. Her body is failing, her mind is fraying, and she's desperate to prove herself. Akame, though unwilling, knows that the only way to set her sister free is to end her suffering. When Akame finally strikes the killing blow, it isn't a victory, it's a funeral. The sister's story comes full circle, ending in tragedy. Kurome's death hurts, not just because of her bond with Akame, but because it shows the price of the Empire's cruelty. She's a victim every bit as much as an enemy, and her end leaves Akame more burdened than ever. Run's death is quieter than most in Akame Ga Kill, but it's just as tragic when you understand who he was. On the surface, Run is one of the Jaegers, loyal to Esdeath and the Empire, but his true motivation isn't power or cruelty. He was once a school teacher, and after watching his students suffer under the Empire's corruption, he vowed to change the system from the inside. That's what makes his story so tragic. Run wasn't truly loyal to the Empire. He was trying to reform it, to use his position to protect civilians and minimize bloodshed. But in a world as violent as Akame Ga Kill, good intentions aren't enough. Run is gravely wounded in battle and ultimately dies, his dream of making a difference unfulfilled. His death underscores the futility of trying to fix a broken system from within. He's a mirror to characters like Najenda, who left the Empire to fight it head on. Run stayed, and it cost him his life. His quiet end, overshadowed by the louder deaths of his comrades, makes his sacrifice all the more tragic. Esdeath's death is one of the most climactic and memorable in the the series. She's the face of the Empire's military might, a general so powerful she can freeze armies with a flick of her wrist. Her Tegu, Demon's Extract, makes her nearly unstoppable, and her philosophy of the strong survive, the weak perish makes her a terrifying antagonist. But her downfall comes not from weakness, but from love. Throughout the series, Esdeath becomes infatuated with Tatsumi. She admires his strength and conviction, even if they're opposed to her worldview. In their final battle, she fights Akame in a clash that feels like the embodiment of two ideologies: ruthless power versus compassionate resolve. When Akame finally defeats her, Esdeath refuses to let anyone else claim her life. With her final act, she freezes herself, preserving her pride and her image of strength. It's a fitting end for a character like Esdeath, tragic, beautiful, and terrifying all at once. Her death leaves a void in the Empire and cements Akame's role as the one who must carry the weight of all these fallen warriors.